They do expect, and I think that was pointed out. It was interesting, the non-dog pile in a championship in an unbelievable environment. The guys, that isn't fake, it's real. I think they expect to win. And I'll be the first one to say it. There's a lot of, I said it last year, even when we were in Omaha, there's a lot of good teams that didn't make it to Omaha. So we realize it's a difficult road, but our guys expect to be on that road to Omaha. Now, whether that ends up that way remains to be seen, but I can tell you with 100% certainty they definitely believe they can.
How do you kind of toe that line between confidence and cockiness when they pitch that approach?
Just to remind them, just kind of what I said, there's a lot of good teams that aren't here. This team has an unbelievable ability to balance that of being loose and having fun. I do believe that's part of my job to make sure. For example, we're hitting today, and the first day we had some music in the batting cages. I was like, where'd that come from? And I walked over just casually, didn't make a big deal, clicked off the music. And no big deal. It was they wanted to be loose, but it was one of those where I still think, hey, we're playing for a championship here. Let's be focused. But you heard it in the answers right there. You don't know how rare that is to have a guy like that, a Kyle Schwarber, that's going to be a first-round draft pick, to genuinely care about team first at this point. If you talk to the coaches across the country, this is the nightmare we all run into, that guys start thinking about their futures before they finish their task at hand for the universities. And so you asked me how our guys handle it, or how do I handle it. I got some great leaders. There's not a lot I have to do. And just kind of get out of their way.
You became familiar with Nebraska this scouting and so forth. Is there anything in particular about them that you think gives you that?
Well, and I'm going to say this, and I mean it totally in a complimentary way and not in an arrogant way. They're a lot like us. I mean, I think they're a physical team. They're fast where they should be fast. They've got guys in the middle of the order that can hurt you. Their pitching is good. They can beat you in a bunch of different ways with different guys up and down the lineup. And I've said that when they didn't get in the tournament last year, I thought at that time they were one of the best baseball teams in the country. Certainly, and I understand the RPI and you got to do stuff early, but at that time I thought they were playing some of the best baseball. It was good from a conference standpoint, and someone who admires how they run their program, to see them have a good year so that they get the opportunity, because I think they could go deep as well. They've got pitching, they've got defense, and they've got guys that can hit.
You said going into the day that you wanted this matchup, you wanted this situation, in terms of just a prep for the tournament. Was this, especially not only with the crowd, but the way the game played, back and forth, was this kind of exactly the sort of situation where you see these guys?
Yeah, I mean, we had a little bit of everything. I mean, we had certainly the environment. We also had some mistakes that we had to overcome in some crucial situations. I think an immature team, I can think of several teams in the past maybe that I've had that don't have the mindset or that we have, maybe would have crumbled at that point. Our guys were like, no big deal. Even the time that Travis ran off the diamond and thought it was 2 outs, I mean, it wasn't anybody getting on him in the dugout between. It was more guys were making fun of him, which is a pretty cool thing. You're thinking you're in a tie ball game. Guy just kind of makes a little bit of a mental mistake right there, and guys aren't on him. They're making fun of him because that's the confidence they have in him. So.
After last year, everybody in the country, you guys voted, but you spoke to leadership, losing Michael, Basil, losing Justin Pearson. Where did this team come along? At what point did you know that this team had to get to be in this position, to be a national league, national?
When you're 2 and 3 hitters on the cover of Baseball America. And speaking of that, and I'm going to speak to Nick Ramos. I thought, Nick Ramos, because we didn't know what the X factor was going to be on losing Basil. It wasn't so much Basil's numbers, but the leadership that he brought to the table. I thought Nick played an unbelievable shortstop for us, certainly down the stretch of the season in this tournament. But I'll say it again, and I hate to keep repeating it, but I am so lucky to have, I took the 2 mound visits, but there were a lot of other mound visits going on. It was the guys out on the field taking care of business. To me, that's it. It's the having guys on the field that have a clue, that are almost like another coach out there. I said it earlier that I can just kind of sit back and manage the game a little bit, but these guys take care of business. And if you come to a practice and you watch how they prepare and the looseness, but yet the professionalism that Kyle described, that's the it. And I'm lucky. I'm going to hate it when these guys are gone. I just hope some of it rubs off on some of these guys coming up in the program.
Coach, Chris asked Darren Erstad about the quality of the conference in the last year or two. You've been in the conference longer. Kind of the same question for you. Just talk a little bit about Big Ten, how it's over the last, not just last year you guys making it, just the last few years, how it's kind of amped up to this year.
Well, I think it's a definite upward swing, no question. And and you could point to several different factors, and I think I've heard people talk about it. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's a combination of you got a lot of good coaches in this league. You got a lot of guys who have been proven coaches at other levels, some good baseball guys who are going to develop guys. I think there's been a significant investment in facilities across the board, in the conference. I think back to using Indiana as an example. We move into a new stadium. We don't keep the Dustin DeMoose to stay an extra year, the Ryan Halsteads, that actually make our team better on the field if we're not playing in a top-notch facility. So I think the investment in facilities has a direct effect to the product on the field. And certainly the Big Ten Network. I've said it in here numerous times at press conferences. You can pick up the phone and call any kid in the country. You look at our lineup or our roster. We have several kids from California. You can attract quality players from all over, and I know everybody else is utilizing the same thing. So I think it's a combination of all of those things that make this conference special. And the one thing that we have to battle that I get so frustrated, and I'm not faulting anybody, that you can't take into consideration when building your RPI, but still we have to play a lot of our non-conference stuff as a league on the road early, and that hurts us. But if you look at the way teams are playing down the stretch, once we get our sea legs a little bit, we're as good as any teams in the country. And it's just unfortunate that the geographics of it, the snow, Mother Nature wins out on occasion. But I think there's been a huge investment on multiple fronts. What needs to change? What I'd say need to do is the ones that don't give us the respect. I should be quiet. No, I just look at you don't know how hard it is, and I said it last year in Indiana to get to the College World Series based on the whole RPI thing, and to put ourselves in consideration for a national seed. It's very difficult when you're playing on the road a lot. And so I wish there would be more consideration from the national writers and everybody to understand the end of the year that there's some teams, Illinois is going to fight like crazy to try to get in there. But there's some teams playing some good baseball at the end that maybe their RPI suffered early. And I get it. I don't have a direct answer to it. Maybe I'd say, teams that get to play 40-some games at home, maybe we should make them play some games on the road early in the season. I don't know what the answer is. I just wish there would be a way that you could take into account that.
You talked in the beginning about about not holding or not calling when you had some mistakes. I guess the biggest thing you guys did this weekend is just not give them an inning. Defensively, some errors, or offensively, you had 2 outs. Come up with the service, that kind of.
Yeah, it's the old. Yeah, you got to keep playing. Mistakes are going to happen. This game's built around mistakes, but errors are going to happen. You just got to limit the big one. Now we had exactly what we wanted in the one. We didn't field the bunt, and then we let the ground ball go between our legs. I was more mad that we didn't field the bunt and get an out when a team was giving us an out. But I thought we did a nice job. We made a quality pitch. Ended up getting another double play. That could have been a really big inning for Nebraska. I know they ended up getting 3, but we got the double play that even cut that down a little bit. But yeah, it's just the mindset and the confidence that these guys have in each other. Just keep playing, make teams earn bases, and it'd be pretty tough to beat because we're still. I just think we're still going to score some runs.